Procrastination, isn't that just being lazy or like delaying on important tasks?
Absolutely, and that's what people think, that it's something to just do with laziness, but there can be so many underlying factors which might be making somebody procrastinate. And we can call it as hidden procrastination, where they actually are doing it for something else, but it's coming in the face of something else. Well, if they are delaying this dinner with the parents, and they might be wanting to discuss marriage, in the person's mind they know that the parents might bring that up, so they're delaying the meeting so that that never comes up. Arousal procrastination, on the other hand, is people who generally say, I work very well under pressure. They know it, that they have to do it, there's no way out of it, but they end up delaying it till the very last minute because they feel that that's when they are able to do. So we all do procrastinate, right? And it eventually becomes more cyclic if it is becoming an everyday thing for you. You put it off for next day, then something else happens, then you delay it more, then you're anxious. Now I've already delayed it one day, and now what to do, and then you end up delaying it more. So when we talk about the past and we talk about the traumatic events of the past, the event has already happened. The event is in the past, but the memory of the event stays in our body. So, our body remembers.
And that's how it's probably responding to it.
And when you come into a similar situation in the present, which is similar to that event, the body responds to that. Impact of the impact is something that is saved in our body. And until we deal with that event and the memory of the event and the narrative that we have of the event, our present will keep getting affected. And there is where skilled psychologists, counselors, therapists, and psychotherapists come into the picture, where they help you reach that deep-rooted issue and help you to resolve it for yourself.
Hi everyone, welcome to this podcast. My name is Swati Bhat Gaonkar. I'm an audiologist and speech therapist, and today I am the host here. Now, I know Nida from before, but for my audience, Nida, would you introduce yourself in a minute?
Sure. My name is Nida, and I'm a clinical psychologist. I also practice as a sound therapist, and I've been in the field of psychology for the past 10 years.
Okay, so what is it that you're going to talk to us about today?
So I wanted to highlight this thing that we all go through, and we think it's just very simple. However, it's, in my opinion, not.
Okay.
That's procrastination.
Procrastination, isn't that just being lazy or like delaying on important tasks? Like if I have an exam tomorrow and I'm rather having Maggie, isn't that something like that? I mean, we've all done it.
Absolutely, and that's what people think, that it's something to just do with laziness, but there can be so many underlying factors which might be making somebody procrastinate. So that's something that I wanted to talk about today and highlight.
Okay. Now, when you talk about procrastination, as I said, we've all done it, right? At all different types of different areas of our life. But are there any specific places where we all tend to do it a lot, or there's more chance that people are procrastinating?
So there are certain areas where people usually procrastinate. Number one can be things to do with our own self-development, something to do with our personal maintenance. So things like finances, things like just some home development, things like they want to do a course which they are delaying, but they know that they want to do it and it's important. So things which they think are important, but
like a fitness as well.
A fitness, they might be wanting to join the gym. They might have given the fee for the gym, but they might be delaying going to the gym. So there are all areas which people usually tend to procrastinate, and things that people usually tend to procrastinate. Then it can also be things to do with other people in their lives. So relationships, whether it is their colleague, things to do with their colleague, friends, family, parents. They might be delaying it for one or the other reason, which they might not even know of. But they're delaying those things, like going for a dinner with the parents, and they might be delaying it. But they might think, oh, I don't have the time, I am busy here, busy there, but probably they're just delaying it for some reason altogether, which is totally
Right.
different.
Could it be also some pre-assumptions they have that if I do this, then this is going to happen, so let me just not do it altogether?
Yeah, and we can call it as hidden procrastination, you know, where they actually are doing it for something else, but it's
Yeah.
coming in the face of something else. So, you know, the motive must be like, for example, if they are delaying this dinner with the parents, and they might be wanting to discuss marriage.
Right.
So in the person's mind, they know that the parents might bring that up, so
Yeah.
they're delaying the
Delaying.
meeting so that that never comes up.
Correct.
So it's a hidden
Correct.
procrastination because they don't want to talk about something that may come up. They're delaying the dinner.
Correct.
So they can.
So now, for example, for students, right? They know final exams are coming.
Yeah.
They know they need to really, you know, not only just do well, but sometimes in some cases they need to pass those exams. So they need to put minimum effort.
Yeah.
Yet they're just not studying.
Yeah.
Now, what would that kind of a procrastination be?
So it may be because of anxiety.
Okay.
It may be because they feel that they don't have enough time now.
Hmm.
There can be many reasons which might be contributing to the delay. Okay, so and there are two very broad types as well, very broadly, if you want to talk about, which
Yeah.
is avoidance procrastination and arousal procrastination.
Okay.
So, avoidance would be you're delaying it because you don't want to do it, or you are delaying it because you're not prepared for it. You're delaying it because, you know, probably you have something else which is more urgent. So, some sort of avoidance is happening to the other task, and hence it's getting delayed. But arousal procrastination, on the other hand, is people who generally say, you know, I work very well under pressure, you know, and they'll be like, they know it that they have to do it. There's no way out of it.
Right.
They may be very good at it also. They may have all the tools and skills to have, you know, do that task, but they end up delaying it till the very last minute because they feel that, you know, that's when they are able to do it.
Right.
Or
Right.
they purposely delay it because they feel that in pressure they are able to do it better. So there's a whole cognitive explanation that they have for that,
Right.
and hence they delay it.
So the anxiety or the pressure actually pushed them to the full potential.
For some people.
For some people.
But anxiety doesn't work similarly
for everyone. Like, I cannot work under pressure. I need my time. I need to be prepared, and then I can. So is there like a model to look at the whole procrastination?
Yes, a model, if we have to talk about, let's talk about this model, which has like 5 things which are outlined, which helps us understand why somebody might be procrastinating, whether it is, and you can apply this model to yourself or to the other person as well, who you are delegating a task,
Right.
to understand why they might not be doing it. So the 5 things would be either the task is too big, either the task is too small.
Okay.
Number 3 would be they don't know what the task is, or they don't know something related to the task. Number 4 would be they don't want to do it. Yeah. And number 5 would be based on the belief system that they don't believe in the task.
Okay. So I can understand if the task is too big.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there's too much of syllabus to cover. I can't do it. I'm not going to study. But if it's too small, why would I procrastinate?
I'll give you examples for all, actually.
Okay.
Okay, let's understand that very quickly. If the task is too big, for example, somebody wants to lose 20 kgs. Yeah, and they'll be like, I want to lose 20 kgs.
Yeah.
Now the task is looking too big, humongous.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But if they, you know, break it down. So the key is to break down those big tasks so that you don't keep delaying it. That's why that person took the gym membership, but never ended up going because he's too scared that what if I don't do? What if it doesn't happen?
Correct.
So failure is preventing them because the task is defined as too big.
Right. Right.
So they don't end up doing it, because not doing it and not achieving that is one thing, but doing it and failing it is a whole different thing that makes them feel more, negative about the whole situation.
Right.
So that is one thing. The task is too big, you break it down. Probably instead of saying 20 kilos, you say 5 kilos by this time.
Yeah.
Then you keep defining your goal as you proceed. Okay, that is one way to look at the too big wala point.
Right.
Too small. When it comes to too small, and we want to give an example for that, it would be, for example, I hired somebody, and they are, for example, they are an engineer, and I give them a task which is something as simple as, can you update my passbook?
Right.
And for them, they might be like, oh my God, this is like too low for me. This is too small for me. I'm made for bigger things. I have better potential.
Right.
What am I doing? So they might end up delaying it, procrastinating it, not wanting to do it.
Okay.
Probably trying to justify why they should do it. And hence that very small task also become very daunting for them, that they end up delaying it.
Delaying it. All right.
Number 3 is they don't know. So sometimes what happens is when we are a team of people and things are being delegated, at times you want to do something and you think that is the next step for you career wise,
Right.
and once that thing comes to you, you end up taking a certain task thinking that, oh, I really wanted to do it and that is my next step, and you become ambitious and you take it. But after taking it, you realize that you don't have the skill set to do it probably.
Right.
You don't know the task, you did not think it through, and you took the task and now you're stuck with it. And now you can't say I can't do it, but you have to do it. So the delay is happening because you don't know exactly what to do. There may be a lack of skill set required to do the task.
Right.
So probably you're taking time to acquire that skill, or just understanding the task, trying to figure out what to do, and hence the delay might happen.
Right. You're again stuck in that rut where you're trying to get the skill, but it's not happening. So the task is not completed.
Not getting completed. Number 4 would be that you don't want to do it. So this is an attitude issue. This is an attitude problem.
Okay.
Where now we can again divide it between two things, where the person has a lot of clarity about the fact that they don't want to do it.
Okay.
Right? So they're very clear. They have clarity about it, that, okay, I don't want to do it. I know how to do it. Probably I can do it. I have the time to do it, but I don't want to do it.
Right.
So they have their own explanation about it, that I don't want to do it and this is why I don't want to do it. Or just simply that they don't want to do it.
Right.
So there is a lot of clarity, and this is something to do with their attitude towards that task. Another aspect of that is, again, attitude, where they don't want to do it because it's coming from somebody.
Right.
So what you have to understand here is, why is there an issue, or is there an issue in the person who's delegating the task, because the task is not happening because that person is delegating it. So that person the other person might do the task if it's coming from someone else, but it's not happening because it's coming from this person.
Like if your husband says, get up and go to the gym, and you're like, why should I do it? Because he's telling me. But once my best friend is like, you know what, you need to go to the gym. And you're like, definitely, she cares so much about me. I really need to go.
That's
something like
the
that.
Classic example of explaining this. Yes.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. And then last is belief system. So if it does not align with your belief system, a task that is being given to you, then it may be very difficult for you to actually end up doing that task, or you'll keep delaying it, or after delaying it, you might want to pass it on to someone else, but you didn't know how to refuse that task. But you're not coming to terms with the fact that you'll have to do it. For example, if we tell somebody who's a smoker to endorse non-smoking products or campaign, and they'll be very guilty, and they will constantly feel that I'm not the right person to do it. I smoke, I believe in smoking. So how can I promote?
Actually, so I think the way I would, like, for example, in my case, I believe in not wasting water at a very deep level. So if someone were to give me a task where there's a lot of water wastage involved, I think, I don't know, I would not be able to do it, or I would maybe push it till forever. Or
you'll
something
try to,
like that.
or you'll try to pass it on to someone else.
Delegate it to someone.
Because it does not align with your belief system, and that makes it very difficult for people to do the simplest of tasks, because it does not align with their belief system.
Now, regarding belief system, I just had a question I just thought of, is that many a times if there's something that you feel you want, but you really don't want it, it's because somebody else said that. Maybe your mom says, oh, I want you to be a teacher, but you don't want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So could that also be something that I don't really want,
Yeah.
but now I'm just wanting it because it's the source is external?
Yeah.
Could that also be a source of or a reason for procrastination, and where does it fit in this model?
Yeah, very much, because you don't align with that for yourself.
Yeah,
It's
so
not a
it's something with the
personal goal
belief
for you.
system. Again, it
Yeah.
falls with the belief system.
It falls with the belief
Okay.
system, and also about the attitude that you have. You are very clear about the fact that you don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably you may take time to convey that to your mother or parent. Probably you may be able to convey it right away.
Right.
But whatever it is, you will probably end up either doing it
And not liking
out of your
it.
belief system,
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
giving your 100% to it.
Yeah.
Every task is delayed. You might not be like fully into it, and
Yeah.
probably after a while you might drop out of it because you're
Right.
not performing. Or you may take action right in the beginning in terms of telling your attitude towards that task to the person who's forcing you to do it.
Correct.
That, you know, I don't align with it. It's not something that I want to do. I have that clarity, and you know,
Yeah.
I would rather do something else.
So now we've covered the areas where we delay, then we've covered the types of delay. Now, I was just scrolling on Instagram once and I came across this term called strategic delay. Now, is it synonymous with procrastination, or is this something different on the whole?
So, strategic delay, if you want to compare it with procrastination, is again a delay of some kind.
But they're two different things.
But with procrastination, it is like you want to do something probably, but you end up unconsciously delaying the task by, you know, focusing on something else at that moment. So many times, I'm sure it must have happened with you also, because it happens with everybody, I feel. That you have to do something very important and you end up cleaning your house.
Yeah.
Or you end up folding laundry, which is anyway pending since 2 weeks.
Yes.
But you end up doing that rather than studying for something or preparing for something, because you're just like too anxious about it. So you're just putting it off for things which are not even so important. So that is procrastination, because you don't have any proper justification to actually fold laundry at that time. While you have to prepare for a workshop next day.
Correct.
But strategic delay is something which has no meaning in the delay, where probably you're not well and you need a day off, but you're putting it off only to recuperate, rest, not think about it, and then come back in full force.
Okay.
That is one thing. So probably you're not well. Probably you have unannounced guests in the house. And now you have to strategically plan that evening so that you push it a little further. You deal with this and then you deal with that. Or something comes up which is more urgent and important. So you push that if it can be pushed a little further.
Okay.
Or by a few hours or a day, and then you deal with that. So strategic procrastination is a more thought out, more planned procrastination,
right?
As compared to normal
And there's
procrastination.
nothing pathological about it. It's something that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you're doing for a better.
And there's a justification to that.
To it.
And you're putting it off only until you can deal with it.
Deal with it. Brilliant. Okay. Now, when it comes to procrastination, now it's not something that it's uncommon. We've all done it at all various times of our lives. But is there something, is it like a linear thing wherein there's an event, I procrastinated, okay, I move on? Or is it something cyclical where you may get actually stuck in a cycle and then this may just prolong?
So when we say that, so we all do procrastinate, right?
Yeah.
In our daily lives, we all end up doing procrastination. But when it becomes, and it eventually becomes more cyclic if it is becoming an everyday thing for you.
Right.
And how does the cycle work is you delay something. Then the time comes where it is either too late or it's too delayed, and then you get very anxious. You know, are getting very worked up about it, and then you end up avoiding it. It reaches to a point where you're now avoiding it by doing XYZ things which you don't need to, and then again it's more delayed. So that cycle continues. You put it off for next day, then something else happens, then you delay it more, then you're anxious. Now I've already delayed it one day, and now you know what to do, and then you end up delaying it more. So then it becomes very cyclic, and then it turns to probably chronic for some people, you know.
So how would you know what is regular, usual procrastination versus something that's chronic? When is it a problem?
Yeah, when something is continuing for days, for months, and you don't really end up circling back to it, and even if you do circle back to it at a time when you have the time to do it, and you still don't end up doing it, and sometimes you're giving yourself reasons and justifications as to why you're not able to do it, there's probably something which is more deeper over there, which is something that may be related to your past experiences, past trauma, that is resulting into your behavior and attitude towards certain tasks that you are dealing with, and you can actually identify as to what exactly do you always procrastinate. Is there certain times or days or
there a pattern?
people, a certain pattern where you usually delay?
Yeah.
And you can then think, okay, why do I always delay things with this person only?
Yeah.
Or why do I always end up delaying things only with my parents? Whereas I'm able to meet everyone else, but I'm only delaying meeting my parents. What is it that's preventing me?
Yeah.
So of course, this when it becomes more deeper, and when you realize it's becoming more chronic, then it's better to take help from a trained therapist, because they can help you walk that path towards understanding what is happening. They can make it more easier for you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is there a correlation between procrastination or the urge to procrastinate and personality types? Like there are proactive people, there are lazy people, there are people who have spurs of being extroverts or introverts. Is there some correlation over there, or it can be unrelated?
So definitely there are theories which will tell us, okay, there are certain personality types, not types, traits, which can, align with people who will, procrastinate or are lazy or just usually are delaying tasks all the time. But it has a lot to do with self-esteem and self-worth. So sometimes people feel that they want to just protect their self-esteem and self-worth, and they don't want to fail at certain tasks, and hence they don't end up doing that task because they can't take the pressure or the anxiety of knowing that what if I do it and then I fail at it.
So the fear of failure plays a lot of role.
Fear of failure, the anxiety of not performing well, the point where their self-worth is questioned, and to protect that self-worth, they want to not do it at all, or they want to delay it as much as they can, so that they reach a point, probably it goes on to someone else, or the task get cancelled or something that then helps them save their self-worth. So there are so many personality types where self-worth can be very delicate, and for delicate for them to deal with. And these are the ways they are trying to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, now, I mean, when you talk about procrastination, you actually think it's such a menial thing. We all do it, big deal. But I think me as a business owner, there are going to be tasks where my teammates maybe have not done. They have delayed it. But now understanding all of this, I can understand maybe it happens because of lack of skill, lack of maybe attitude or belief system. So all of this definitely probably helps me understand how to delegate tasks, which tasks to give to whom. So that is a very important thing we have to take care about. You know, the ability of that person to procrastinate on it. And you can't just be angry about it. You need to deal with it differently. So that's one. Now, if of course someone is going through a chronic issue of procrastination where they just don't want to wake up from bed, because it's not just not going to the gym, they don't want to wake up to do their morning routine, like getting ready. That could there be a deeper psychological issue beneath this, other than whatever we've covered till now? Could there be anything more?
Yeah, I think it could be mainly because something that they must have faced in their lives in terms of, a traumatic event that has impacted them so much that it's having an impact of the impact in their lives in the now.
Like it's spilling all over,
It's spilling into the now that they are living.
Mhm.
So when we talk about the past and we talk about the traumatic events of the past, the event has already happened.
Yeah.
The event is in the past, but the memory of the event stays in our body. So, a body remembers.
And that's how it's probably responding to it.
And when you come into a similar situation in the present, which is similar to that event, the body responds to that. So a muscle, in psychology, we say we have muscle memory.
Correct.
Right? Correct. So the impact of the impact is something that is saved in our body. And until we deal with that event and the memory of the event and the narrative that we have of the event, our present will keep getting affected.
Correct.
And we might not even know. A lay person wouldn't know that it is so deep. Something as simple as delaying a task can be so deep-rooted.
Deep-rooted.
And there is where skilled psychologists, counselors, therapists, and psychotherapists come into the picture, where they help you reach that deep-rooted issue and help you to resolve it for yourself so that it does not affect your present the way it is affecting. And it's not just affecting in terms of delaying the task. There's so many areas where a person can get affected.
Very true. So if someone actually is going through procrastination, if it's a little bit, that's okay. You can cope around with it. But if it's really getting chronic, they need to address it, at least work on coping strategies, or definitely get in touch with a therapist who could get the deep-rooted reason for it and then work accordingly, thus making the treatment seamless.
Yeah. So if we want to just work on simpler, strategies, it can be where a person can maintain a diary. It's simple. This is very simple cognitive behavioral therapy exercise where you can maintain a diary. Just write in that every time you're delaying a task as to when you are delaying it. With whom are you delaying it? Is there a particular time of the day?
So is this journaling? Like, are you journaling your...
Journaling. It's more like you trying to, put down pointers about the delay that you're facing every time.
Okay.
So every time you just want to understand the pattern of this. So you want to see whether it is a particular time of the day when it is told to you you're delaying it. Some people are not morning people. Some people are night, night people. Some are evening people. So if somebody tells me at 6 in the morning you have to do this, it will be very
difficult. So if you have to understand the pattern, you can kind of go through.
So it's not the task actually. It's the time. So to understand that, people can start journaling it.
Right.
Then they can also see what is the narrative that they have given themselves about the task. So change the narrative. If you recognize that, and with the help of a psychologist, you can help change the narrative.
Change that.
Rephrase what you actually tell yourself, and that really helps.
Now, in my case, I don't like writing. Like, I don't want to keep written things because I think it's personal and it's scary. What if someone reads it? So, what other ways can we actually work around it?
Then you can have mental notes. At least tell yourself that at least self-talk you can do, where you can keep telling yourself and recognizing it for yourself instead of writing it down particularly. If phone is a safe thing for you, then you can probably make notes on that, which is much more safer and personal, where people cannot get their hands on that. So probably that you can find a way to jot it down.
But make a note of it so you can understand the pattern. I had come across a technique wherein, say, you have to go to the gym and you're trying to dilly-dally, and or say there's a chocolate you're not supposed to, and you just want to, you can just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then that snaps you out of that little temptation. Does that help? Would that help in procrastination as well? I mean, if I want to not do the task, I can go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and sit and just start it. Would that help, or that's...
I'll say that different things work for different
people.
So which is where trying to keep an account of what is actually happening and then trying different things as to what may work for you. The identification has to happen. and then you can apply the little strategies to make things work.
Yeah.
For you, counting might work. For some other people, it might not.
Writing may work for them.
Writing may work. Like writing doesn't work for you. So it's actually more personal when it comes to dealing with the problem itself. And which is why, again, a therapist or a counselor can actually help you identify your personal goals and your personal things, that activities that you can do to help recognize what works for you.
Brilliant, brilliant. It was brilliant talking to you, Nida. And I think I learned so much, from our conversation. Something as simple as procrastination can be so deep rooted, and it can have so many implications, not just for myself, but as also a person who's maybe leading a team, maybe running a business, or even holding a job. So I think this was a very brilliant talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling.